Hi, I'm Karen Bonner. I'm an integral master coach, and we're going to introduce you to a feedback model.
And I'm Ian White. I'm a life fulfillment coach, and Karen and I have been working with the feedback model for many years.
We're going to use a role play to show you how to use the feedback model. Before we start, though, I want to ask a question, and Ian, I'd like you to answer this as well. When someone says to you, "Can I give you some feedback?" What is your immediate internal thoughts and reaction?
I immediately shut down because I'm already in the mindset that something went wrong. What did I do wrong? And I'm already beating myself up over what I think I didn't do very well, anyways.
And I would say, Ian, we've taught this feedback model many times, and that would be generally what people would say. They start to tighten up. There's this sense that, uh-oh, I did something that I shouldn't have done. And that's because over the years, the way we've been raised, the way the school system has worked, we've just normally will encounter feedback when we've done something wrong or when we need to improve on something. So this feedback model is a little broader. It takes into account a couple of things, just broadening, covering all bases of feedback, what went well, what was tricky, and some new do differentlies. And also it's considered, how can you use this in multiple situations? I learned this feedback model from another Ian Chisholm. And it was in the middle of my career as a manager. And it really shifted my thinking on how I was going to give feedback, what it looks like to receive feedback, and kind of when to use feedback and how to integrate that in a more regular basis. So we're going to have a prop of water. We're going to start with this. And we just using it as to put in your line of sight. These are our thoughts in our glass. We're going to come back to this glass in a few minutes. But Ian and I are coming in to this role play with lots of thoughts that we want to share when we're giving and receiving feedback. So Ian's been in a board interview. I was on the board. We're meeting in a coffee shop. We're colleagues. He's just wanting some informal feedback. So Ian, we have this feedback model. I'd like to use it today. It's got three parts to it. I'm going to talk about what went well. I'm going to talk about what was a little tricky and some things that you could do differently the next time in a board interview. With this feedback model, when I'm giving you the feedback, all you can say is thank you. And the reason why is this is my gift to you. It's really in support of your development so that when you do another board interview, you will continue to grow and flourish and build your confidence there. And I do have some examples. So would you like some feedback?
Yes, please.
Okay. What I thought you did really well was the PowerPoint presentation, just fantastic color, great pace. You just really have a good sense of giving presentations.
Thank you.
Another thing I thought you did really well was the policy question. We liked how you paused. You had several points, but you were really succinct. You flowed it through well and really linked it to the program. So really good job.
Thank you.
A tricky though was the role play. What we noticed, within the first couple of minutes, there were several ums. You lost some eye contact partway through. We started noticing you were looking at your shoes. So just really notice that it was showing up that you were not really in deep into the role play. So do diff the next time. I would just suggest taking a couple of deep breaths. Okay, let's take a look. So look at Ian's glass. It's already getting close to the top. If I continue to give him feedback, what's going to happen to you, Ian?
It's going to be all over me.
So even though that sounded really cool, hit the delete button. That is not how this feedback model works. In this feedback model, Ian goes first. Because as we showed you at the beginning, Ian has lots of thoughts about what happened. So in order for Ian to receive my feedback, he needs to empty his cup first. So we're going to do it the right way. Back in the coffee shop, I'm going to give you a feedback model. What went well, tricky, do diff. All you say is thank you.
Sounds good.
Taking some notes for you to give you your feedback. Now, Ian, you were definitely in the room with us. You have lots of ideas and opinions about what happened. I'd like to get your perception on how you thought you did. So I'd like you to start with what went well.
Okay, great. So I thought I came well prepared with my PowerPoint. I was really proud of it when I showed up. Lots of great colors, and I thought I presented clearly and succinctly.
Anything else that went well?
I thought I brought some really great examples of my my history and of my experience, and I felt like I had good detail there.
Any trickies for you?
The role play was something that really threw me off. I'm not a great role player, and I think I let my nerves get the best of me, and it just kind of knocked me off my game.
And what would you do differently the next time?
I probably would have taken some more time to practice, knowing that role plays are not my strong suit, so that I would have felt more confident and competent going into the room.
So let's look at Ian's cup. It's now empty. So now it's my turn to fill his cup. So Ian, I thought what you did really well was your resume. We were impressed with it. It was well written. And it's your first impression that you give us. So really well done.
Thank you.
I thought you did a great job on the policy question. We really liked that you paused, took notes. So that was really well done as well. You were succinct, looped it right into the program.
Thank you.
And a tricky for sure, I would just add into the role play. I would just say the little bit more eye contact would be, you were really looking down the floor quite a bit. So adding into the do diff for you next time, do differently, I would just take a couple of deep breaths. It can be nerve wracking.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. There you go. So now Ian has room and a cup full. So what was different than the first way that Ian and I did it, where I went first, which is often how we do it? I have intel now. I can now build on where Ian saw his what went well is tricky and do differently. I don't have to repeat anything. I can add into that. What about for you, Ian, with that cup being empty? What's happening at your end?
Well, I'm now able to receive because I've had a chance to get off my chest the things that well, first off, I was able to actually say things that went well for me, which is not usually a place where I focus. And then I was able to get a few things out to give you some information so that you could add into it in a way that I couldn't see.
What you're actually building is kind of a trust relationship right at the beginning. So you can relax and take in what I have to say. And the fact that the other key piece is grounding them, giving them some rigor. So you notice some examples. That's really important. We have a saying, Ian, Mark, and I, less is more. So specific with some examples in it, don't make it a shopping list. Giving somebody 2 or 3 is huge for them because they've already got their own kind of pathway forward. So it's just in time, right amount, and the right time. So that's why I like this tool, because there's some rigor to it. The one went well, tricky, do diff, the thank yous. And there's also this idea of just what do people need right now?
The other thing with that is it actually, if it's given regularly, it takes away the fear of the one time that you're going to get feedback. So if it happens on a regular basis, given with care and with specific examples, it's not too much. It provides a great opportunity to look forward to the feedback as opposed to it being this I'm being called to the principal's office kind of scenario.
Totally. And using it in what I call like less maybe risk at times, like, when you got to do a performance feedback, that can be very stressful at both ends. So practicing it in at the end of a meeting, or at a learning event, or if you had a conversation with that person. So building that capacity and even doing it at home. A lot of my development, I started to do it with my grandkids, or I did it at the curling club with my volunteer work, where it was lower risk. So I was building in, again, something we talk about, the confidence and the competence to be able to do this in a way that really serves the other person and that you feel really good about it. So that's our feedback model.